Welcome, Shagun, to the show. We're so happy to have you today chatting with us.
Thank you so much, Rama. It's my pleasure and an honor.
So you are the founder and organizer and designer for Naytra Couture. Is that correct?
Yes and no.
Yes.
Yes. I call you the CEO. I'm designing the.
We're going to call you the CEO.
Well, yes, I am everything. I wear a lot of hats. So yes, I can choose, whichever one works today.
So tell me, when you were growing up, did you think that, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to create Naytra?
Interesting question. And I've thought about this a lot. And the answer to this question is a yes and a no. And please allow me to explain that. And my journey has been pretty much like you can call it a crisscross or a zigzag. I will let you decide after I've answered the question. So I grew up in India in a family of 4, mom, dad, and my younger sister. We were a very close-knit family. But I had a very, very special relation with my dad, and he was my inspiration. He inspired me to do so many things, and I think whatever I am today and whatever I'm doing today, I can tell you that without him, this would not have been the case. Everything that I do, it's because I got inspired by him. So, for instance, I always thought that I'll go into something technical, whereas my career was concerned. My undergrad, I studied math during my undergrad. And so the logical assumption for me was that I will go get my MBA and, sort of get a job. But my dad, on the other hand, he would always say that there is no one way, not just the only way. And he never liked to limit himself. And in this case, he went and visited National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi. And even before I saw the place, he knew for sure that I'm going to love it. And, he was so right. So now comes the turn. So from a math major, I entered the world of fashion and apparel. And, I think I worked with fashion and apparel for a decade. And in the meanwhile, I got married, met my husband, Sanjeev, had my daughter, Diva. And then we moved to Toronto. I had my son, Neil, there. It was then that I went back and got the MBA, the same MBA that I always thought I would get. I got that under my belt and I moved over. I switched. So left the apparel and fashion industry and worked for companies like Walmart Canada, Hallmark. And then it was my job that brought me to Boston and worked here for 5 years. And in 2015, I quit my job because I thought before my kids leave the house, I should, spend some time with them. So did that. And then my son, Neil, he was in high school and a senior. And then I was like, okay, my husband, Sanjeev, really encouraged me. And he was like, why don't you now follow your dream, something that you always wanted to do? So the birth of Naytra.
That is an interesting story. And I love how you said, I think I should spend some time with my children.
So important.
Yeah.
We forget to smell the roses.
That is very true. Well, excellent. That is so fascinating. So tell us about the line. Tell us about Naytra. What does Naytra mean? And what does it mean to you?
It means everything to me. Naytra, I have to tell you that it is something that's, it's the thing, it's my dream come true. Netra is a word that in Hindi and Sanskrit means eyes. And my fascination with eyes actually goes way back to my days at National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi. I was taking a course called, I think it was called something like Influence of Ancient Indian Art on Culture, Apparel, and Fashion Industry. It was then that I was introduced to Madhubani paintings, and I cannot talk about Netra without talking about Madhubani paintings. This is a very like ancient Indian art form, goes back to 2,500 years, right? So the women in the villages used to practice this art form, and they would paint the village. So if there was a celebration, they would paint the walls and all the buildings in the village, and the whole village would come alive. And at that time, they used to use all these vegetable dyes and natural colors.
Right.
So what really resonated with me, other than the vibrancy of colors and intricate designs, were all the animal life was depicted with having these beautiful, big, bold eyes.
Right.
And that really resonated with me. And, because Shakespeare put it so beautifully, right? That your eyes are,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Are windows.
Right.
So absolutely. Your eyes show, your innermost feeling. It's your view of the world, how you view the world. And I always see, I'm very fascinated by this aspect. So, so that's how, I thought of Netra, and I don't think I could have called my business anything other than Netra.
Right. And it's like allegorical on so many levels. It's, perception, it's, the colors, the way we all perceive things. It's just very on so many levels. So that's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And your business, I was reading a little bit about you, and your business is really quite unique because it's very socioeconomically conscientious. We talk a lot about having business practice these days that's a conscientious business practice, and that's really what you're trying to do. So tell us about that aspect.
Okay. So I'll begin with a little story here, Rama. And
of course, we love stories.
Thank you. If my kids were around me, they would have rolled their eyes and said, "Oh, Mom."
That's why they're not interviewing you.
True. So, before we were just talking about my walks in the morning with my puppy Ryder. So that I walk every single day, rain or shine, 365 days, right? So that's like Ryder and me time. That's the time when I listen to podcasts, I listen to books, or at times I just listen to music. So believe it or not, this was about, he's 7 years now. So I'm talking about 2 years ago. I was walking, and sometimes you listen to so many things, but you don't hear, right? So I was listening to the song, and when I name the song, you'll say, of course, what's in it? It's Circle of Life, right? Lion King. Loved the movie, loved everything, heard that song a million times, but did not really hear it. That day when I was walking, there's a line in that Circle of Life. In the Circle of Life, you can never take more than you give. And that's the Circle of Life.
Right.
So I have to tell you, that's the driving force. Those are the wheels behind Netra. And that's our driving force. That's the mantra. That's the principle that we are based on. Our business and the brand is based on 3 principles. Number 1, women supporting women, sustainability. And number 3 is giving and donating the gift of eyesight. And I'll just walk you through them.
Oh, that's
so women supporting women.
Please, yes, that's very. Walk us through that. Yes.
So, we began with, when I thought of this venture, I obviously thought that I'm going to do this based on Madhubani paintings, my fascination with eyes, as we've talked about, and colors, of course. So we began with reaching out to the actual artisans who live in these remotest villages of India, and they practice this artwork. Rama, these villages are so remote that when I sort of wanted to get the artwork, even DHL and FedEx couldn't get to those villages. They had to bring this artwork 5 hours away from the actual remote village so that, the courier companies could bring it. So our principle is that we want to work directly with these women who are so hardworking and have been practicing this art for ever since they were at a very young age. They start doing this. It's a tradition that gets passed on from grandmothers to mothers to daughters, right? So unfortunately, what happens? These women create this breathtaking artwork, and who gets the benefit? It's the middleman. So we wanted to cut the middleman so that we can support these artisans and give them a fair wage. And what we get in return is that we get an exclusive artwork for Naytra. So this is a founding principle. We really believe in this. We want to support the artisans and their communities by directly dealing with them. So that is number one principle. And no compromises on the price, because we feel they should get their fair share for what they have done.
Right.
Thank you. Second thing is sustainability. Mm-hmm. Now, we have to take care of our Mother Earth for coming and our future generations. So we all know, and Rama, I'm sure you're aware of this, the fashion industry is actually charged with being one of the most polluting industry on the face of this earth, and it has a huge carbon footprint. So while I cannot tell people not to live in fashion, not to believe in fashion, I am in fashion, to be honest. But you know what? I've decided that we'll do this responsibly. And what that means is we have 100% no plastic policy, no plastic whatsoever. We developed these boxes for Naytra, totally made out of recycled paper. Our hand tags, again, made out of recycled papers. And the bag that we developed, 100% cotton canvas bag, right? And Rama, this is the little cotton string that we use to attach our tags to our garments,
All biodegradable.
Absolutely. So I'll tell you a little story. Those non-woven bags that everyone's using these days, we thought, we're going to be environmentally friendly. And I was just about to place the order when I realized, oh my God, that has plastic in it. And I canceled the order, and a lot of education, and we're doing things the hard way, but, very, very satisfying again. So no plastic, and no man-made fiber. Now, again, we know all the man-made and synthetic fibers, they are made out of fossil fuels again, and they go into all these landfills. So our tunics and our products are 100% pure mulberry silk, so trying to do our part. The factories that we work with have been certified, this certification that's called OECOTEC Standard 100 certification. And what that means is that, no harmful chemical has been used. And in fact, they are very, very environmentally friendly. Not an easy certification to get. A lot of resources go into it. So we work only with those factories.
Right.
So sustainability, trying to do our part. And then the final principle that our business believes in, and this is very, very near and dear to my heart. I've named my business around this. Around 253 million people in the world today are visually impaired. And out of these, 35 million people are actually totally blind. Disheartening information, staggering numbers. What really gave me a little bit of hope was that 80% of this blindness is curable. And, but people are underserved. They do not have resources. So our mission at Naytra is that every product that we sell from Naytra, will go towards donating the eyesight to one person. So this is our mission. This is something that we believe in. We take our eyesight, you and I, we get up in the morning, we take our eyesight so much for granted, right? We see the world and it's beautiful. We enjoy the right of colors.
Right. We have access to eye care. You get your annual eye appointment every year. We have access to that.
Right, absolutely. And Rama, I'm very proud of the fact that we started late December, but till date we have donated eyesight with the help of our customers to 15 people,
Awesome.
and hopefully by the end of February the number would grow to 20. So this brings me immense joy. So these are the three founding principles that we we are very, very passionate about.
Right. Wow, that is really fascinating. Such an interesting story and concept. And tell us about the process that you go through, the couture process. And you get a design, and do you have the colors included, or is that your end of the process, or where do you go from there? You give 5 hours later, someone delivers a design to DHL, and then 3 days later it gets shipped to you, and then what?
Then becomes the pressure cooker situation for me.
And the fun.
To be honest with you, there's so much pressure because what happens is this artwork is so beautiful, and my intent as a designer or creator is to remain true to that and to bring that to life. So it's a tough process, I have to think about it. But my mantra in life has always been, it's about being vibrant, inspiring, and energetic. So I try to bring that when I'm thinking of the designs. So I'll give you an example, Rama. So let's say the DHL came and delivered this, right?
Cool. Yeah.
This now I'm stunned, and I'm looking at this painting and I'm like, where do I go from here? So it's then I have to think. So this particular piece, I'm telling you, when I saw it, I was like, I can never do justice to this. How will I ever translate this into a tunic, right? So that was the question that I had in my mind. And Rama, then I have to think about it. And this is the tunic that, I made. So you see the way we do the sleeves,
right,
and then the back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I think that I'm going to translate the design. So it takes time. I have to think about it a lot. And this is the scarf that we
that
we made.
Right.
So just to give you an idea, and actually the tunic that I'm wearing, this is the artwork.
Oh, nice. Oh, so that is quite different. The colors as well.
So guess where I got the color from, Rama? So I remember I was just talking about the walks.
Right.
So when I go for walks, I look at the flowers around me. And at New England, we are very, very blessed, and we have so much beauty around us. Mm-hmm. I actually click pictures of the flowers. So this color that I got was out of one of the flowers that I sort of clicked and came back home, and I was like, how can I use this, So that's the process. Once I conceptualize it, think about it, and try to bring out the best of the design, keeping all the elements the way they are. And once I've done that, then we transfer these prints to the factories, and it's a tedious process because most of the time what happens, the kind of the way I render these prints to the tunic, like the fronts are different than the backs and the sleeves. So the factories then have to make all these templates to print them. You know how silk is. It's a very soft fabric, and it's a fabric that's very shifty.
Yeah, that's a problem that all of us should have, is knowing how silk is.
Yeah,
really,
right.
That's a welcome problem.
Right. It creases, it's shifty, it's delicate, it's soft. So everything has to be very precise. Right. So once this is printed with a lot of precision, it comes off the machine, and then each and every piece is hand cut and hand sewn. And everyone has to take utmost care because, as you know, silk is an expensive fabric and we cannot have wastage.
And it tears easily too.
tears so easily, right? So everyone has to take, and what that means is a lot of caution goes into it. It's a slow moving process, very tedious, but extremely rewarding. So when these tunics and scarves come out, this is what we bring forth, and then it undergoes a very, very rigorous process, quality check, and then that's how it comes to our customers.
Right. Nice.
Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes. And I'm thinking of all the little logistical and design, specifications associated. It's really quite numerous. You're taking a two-dimensional artwork and you're making it applicable to a three-dimensional, piece. Not to mention all the different designs for the tunics, right? And then all kinds of other factors that go into that. So yeah, you must have like your 3/4 of your brain just dedicated to just this one project, one business, like all the time, 24/7, just kind of running.
You're so right. It's 24/7. And I have actually, I offer 3 styles. So what I'm wearing is called Paripurna. And I called it Paripurna because it's a tunic with everything. It has a collar. It's a very elegant piece in my mind. It has 3/4 to full length sleeves and has side slits. What you see on my mannequin, I call her Sunetra. So that's a bell sleeve tunic. All right. And then I have sleeveless, and you will be able to see all the 6 styles and on my website. We've tried to cater to everybody, and we're open to suggestions, as we go forward.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So people can give you feedback and say, hey, I'd like something that's more like this. And then you'll consider that as a future design.
Yes, absolutely. Customer is the king. I'm doing this. It makes me very happy. Of course, I'm doing this for myself. But you know what? It's not just me. It's so many people that you touch alongside, and that's what brings me joy, to be honest with you.
And the names are not actually, it's the tunics aren't named after people. They really have other meanings. They're like specific to the style and of the actual, piece.
Absolutely. So, maybe I should have pulled that piece for you. There's a tunic that's called Brahmati. It's flutter sleeve, and actually Brahmati does mean flutter like a butterfly.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So, my sleeveless tunic, for instance, I'll tell you, I believe in female power. So that what I call that Shakti. It's a sleeveless tunic. It's empowering. I feel it's about being a woman. So when I
literally in Sanskrit, strength or power.
Yes, it does mean
right. And then we can also flex muscles.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow, that's awesome. And do you have anything else you'd like to add about your artists and artisans, and any other last words that you'd like to, or any other last stories you may have that you want to share with us?
You and I can sit here. I have so many stories, but my artisans, what can I say about them? They are amazing people, and what I call them as my building blocks, right? I start from them. They give me the flight. The wind beneath my wings comes from them. They produce this. They are such an integral part of Naytra. They produce this breathtaking artwork, which is, I'm sorry, I feel that I repeat myself a lot because I cannot stop talking about these paintings and the intricate designs, and they are so, so beautiful. Most of these women have been, as I had mentioned earlier, it's a tradition that gets passed down the generations. And they have been sort of making and selling this artwork and keeping, they're the breadwinners for the family, to be honest with you. Like, for instance, and on my website, if you go on my website, I've dedicated a page to them. And I want everybody to know these wonderful, wonderful people that I work with and who create this actually stunning artwork for me. So Chandrakala Devi is one of the artisans who's been doing this for almost 30 years now. She supports a family of 9. Her husband passed, and then she was left to take care of her family. And like I was mentioning, that it's a tradition that gets passed down the generations. So I'm very happy, very proud that her daughter, Nikki Kumari, she also, so I have artwork from her. And
So which one is that?
This is what we call it Nilaya. And, Rama, Nilaya means a resting place. So when I saw this artwork, I was like, okay, what I felt that these 3 antelopes, they're finding their rest in this ever-changing jungle, right? And ready to take off at the slightest disturbance. So, these are the stories that come to my mind when I look at this picture. And it's so difficult. It's hard for me to think about how I can do or bring this this painting alive on a tunic. So coming back to my artisans, so Nikki Kumari is also, I have her paintings too. So I think I'm very fortunate that I'm connected to these real people who are amazing people, in trying to work with them and trying to do the right thing, So they're keeping a tradition alive for us. And I'm very humbled. I'm like, any part that I can play in that sort of that circle of life, right, I'm very happy to play.
Right. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I was just looking. I just love looking at all the different artworks that you're showing us there. Those are so pretty. Yeah, and I had a question. So, are all of these designs that they do, the artisans, are those all very traditional prints, or do they have any influences that they input into their work over time, or how does it evolve? Because I know they're very remote, so I was wondering if there's any other influences that reach them, or is it really just very traditional?
So yes, they are traditional, but they have been influenced. So I'll tell you, for instance, actually the pieces that I like, or I get inspired by, something like this. Mm-hmm. These are more traditional, right? This is, again, one of the traditional artworks, right?
That's an elephant.
It's an elephant, and actually, if you see, they make this artwork, and this I call the chakra, and they show the life sort of in harmony. So right, there's fish aquatic life, there's terrestrial life, right, and there are birds, and so this is how Madhubani. This is the most traditional form of Madhubani. Over the years, Madhubani has evolved, and now they have started bringing in human figurines, which was actually, relatively speaking, it happened about 300 years ago or so. And that is a new, if you consider 2,500 years, then probably 300 sounds very new.
Right, yeah.
So it has evolved. And for instance, I don't think anyone's using actual vegetable dyes and vegetable colors, right? So that part has been impacted by modernization and us evolving as human beings. But I think their view of the world. So if you see the eyes, right? But yeah, these are where I cannot stop referencing to this, Rama, and I know I get very annoying at times, but look at the eyes. So,
even the flowers on top look like their eyes.
Yes, they're so pretty, so pretty.
Each piece really speaks of sustainability.
Right. So this is what drives me, and this is where it all comes together for me, and I feel that the world, when I thought of this whole venture, I was like, you know what? Why don't we share these masterpieces with the world, right? Why don't we tell everybody there are these artisans who are producing this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artwork, and why can't we share it with the world? So
Right.
that's where I thought we'll bring Naytra in, and Naytra will bring hopefully all of this together.
Right.